Hi, today we're going to talk about Chapter 4, Lesson 1, which is representing relationships. The way that we represent relationships is with the math formula y equals mx plus b. What we want to do is we want whatever we're trying to find, so the variable that we're trying to find will take the place of y. Okay? And whatever we're going to use to plug into the formula. So like in this first problem, the formula, a manufacturer produces 950 light bulbs per day. So what we're trying to find is the number of bulbs that they're producing over however many days that they're producing bulbs. So the thing, it says write an equation to find the number of bulbs B the manufacturer makes in any number of days D. So what we're trying to find is bulbs B, and we're going to produce 950 per day. So the idea is that the 950 is the slope. It's how much. It's how many are produced over like each day. So for each occurrence, we're going to produce, or each occurrence being the number of the day, or number of days that we are producing bulbs. So the thing is, so if we produce bulbs for one day, then we're going to do 1 times 950. So the bulbs that we would have would be 950 times 1. So that's why this first, so that's the first equation that we have here, is we want bulbs to equal 950 per day. The second thing that they ask us to do is to use the equation to find how many bulbs the manufacturer will make in 25 days. Well, the thing then is we're going to say that the number of bulbs produced are going to equal 950 each day for 25 days. Well, we could add 950 25 times, because that's how many days they produce 950 bulbs. Or what we could do is we could say it's 950 times 25, and you get which equals 23,750. So that would be the number of bulbs that were produced for 25 days, over 25 days by this manufacturer. Okay, problem number 2. It says, again, we want to represent a relationship, and the way we do that in mathematics is with an equation, y equals mx plus b. It says the workers at a plant are drinking 38 gallons of water per day. Write an equation to find the number of gallons, G, the workers drink in any number of days, D. So if we're trying to find gallons, G, then that is the left side of the equation where y goes. And then we want to find how many gallons they're drinking over a number of days. So if we're trying to find, we're going to know the number of days, and we're going to put the number of days in. And the thing is we want to multiply days by the amount that's being produced or being used. And in this case, it's 38. So our slope is going to be 38. And then and this would be our equation. Gallons are equal to $38 per day. So that's your equation. G equals 38 times D, the number of days that the plant was in operation and the workers were there drinking water. Okay. The next thing it does is it asks us to use the equation to determine how many gallons of water the workers will drink in 30 days. So what we do is we take the 38 and we multiply it by the number of days that the workers were drinking water. And so it's going to be 38 times 30, which is 1,140 gallons. And that answers B. Okay, so this was question number 1, this was question number 2, and now we're going to work on question number 3. Question number 3 is about allowance, and it says Chet gets $12 per week as allowance. Write an equation to find the amount of allowance A. So again, what we're trying to find is the allowance. So that goes on the left side where Y usually goes. And it says to write an equation to find the amount of allowance A that Chet receives in any number of weeks W. So W is the variable on the right side of the equation, and because he's getting $12 per week, we put a 12 in for our slope. And that would be the answer to letter A. Is the equation is A equals 12W. The allowance equals $12 a week. Part B says to make a table to find the amount of allowance Chet receives in 5, 6, 7, or 8 weeks. Okay, so if we're going to, what we're going to do is we're going to put in 5, 6, 7, and 8 weeks. And what's happening is because he's making $12 a week, to get the amount of allowance, we're going to do 5 times 12. So that's $60 in 5 weeks. And then 6 times 12 would be the amount of allowance he makes in 6 weeks, would be $72, and then $84, and then $96. And then, so that answers this part of the question. To make a table and to calculate the table for weeks 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then it asks us to graph those data points. So what I'd like to do is we're starting at 0, and we jumped 2, 4, 6, 8. These are the weeks, which are the x value, right? And the reason that the weeks are the x value is because if we write the equation in y equals mx plus b format, what's happening is these weeks are the x's and these a's are the y's. So when we're plotting our graph, we want to make sure that we put the weeks on the x-axis and we put the a's on the y-axis. And the a's, it looks like they start at 60 and they go up to 96. Well, our slope is 12, so the best thing to do is to use the slope as the counter along the left side. So the slope is 12, so what we want to do is we want to go up 12, 24, 36, 48, 60, 72, 84, and 96. And that way, when we plot our points, we're going to plot the 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, like we're going to plot the 560. So we're going to go over to 5, and then we're going to go up to 60, and we're going to put a point on the graph. And then we have a point at 672, which is right here. And we have one at 784, which is right there. And then we have one at 896, which is right there. So those would be your data points, and you would have graphed the ordered pairs, which is the second part of this question, number 3. All right. Now we want to do problem number 4, and it says measurement. There are 16 ounces in a pound. So doesn't it make sense that we could say there are 16 ounces per pound? So if it's 16 ounces in a pound, we could say that it is 16 ounces per pound. So this in a is another way of saying the word per, and it's something that that we should pay, that you have to pay attention to. Number 4, it says to write an equation to find the number of ounces n. So again, we're trying to find n. So we want to kind of go back over to our equation part and say number 4 is we're trying to find N, and we're doing it at a rate of 16 ounces per pound. So we're going to do 16 per pound P. So N ounces is equal to 16 per pound P. And this would be the equation for answer A. And then we want to answer part B, which is to fill in the table for 2, 3, 4, and 5 pounds. So at 2 pounds, 3 pounds, 4 pounds, 5 pounds, and each time we're going to do 2 pounds times 16 ounces per pound is 32 ounces. So the idea is that in 2 pounds there are 16 ounces, right? Or there are 32 ounces in 2 pounds. Okay, so then we want to do 3 pounds times 16 ounces each. Gives us a total of 48 ounces in 3 pounds. And then 4 times 16 is 60. Nope, 64, sorry. Multiplied that wrong in my head. And then 5 times 16 is going to be 80. So there would be 80 ounces in 5 pounds. Like that. Okay? And then we want to graph it. And again, our numbers here go from 1 through 9. And these numbers go in increments of 16 down. So on the x-axis, we want the pounds, and on the y-axis, we want the ounces. And we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then over on the y-axis, we're going up in jumps of 16. So we want 16, 32, 48, 60. I'm going to say 70. And then 90. And page 2 of chapter 4, section 1, representing relationships. What we want to do then is we want to do problem number 1, which is measurement. Use the table to write an equation to find the number of inches I and any number of meters m. Use the equation to find the number of inches in 9 meters. Okay, so we're trying to find the number of I inches. So in problem number 1, what we want is, again, we want to write the equations in the form y equals mx plus b. And we're trying to find I, so that is going to be the left side of the equation. And then we want to write in inches. Okay, so we want to find inches in the number of meters. Well, what's happening is they're not telling us the slope right away. We have to calculate it first. And the easy way of calculating it is to look at your if they give you a table, is to look at the table and say this change is 39. So from 39 to 78 is 39 units. And then from 78 to 117 is another 39 units. And then from 117 to 156 is another 39 units. on the left side, we have from 1 to 2 is one unit, from 2 to 3 is 1 unit, and from 3 to 4 is 1 unit. Well, the reason this is important to us is because when you're calculating slope, remember that slope is the change in y over the change in x. And when we write the tables, we put the x's on the left side and we put the y's on the right side. So these numbers over here, when we change from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, and 3 to 4, these numbers are the changes in x. And the numbers on the right side are the changes in y, because what we're doing is we're jumping from 39 to 78. That's a 39 unit change in y. And from 78 to 117, that's a 39. So what's happening is on the right side, we're changing 39 units each time. And on the left side, we're changing 30x, 1 unit, not 30, but just 1 unit each time. So what happens if we're going to calculate slope, if we know that the change in y is 39 units, and the change in x is 1 unit, then what's happening is that in effect gives us our slope of 39 over 1. So when we're trying to write the equation, we have the slope when they give us a table by doing that simple calculation. We get I is equal to 39 m. Okay, so that's our equation. And then it says to use the equation to find the number of inches in 9 meters. Well, what's going to happen then is we're going to say the number of inches in 9 meters is going to be inches equals 39 times 9 meters. 39 times 9 is 351, if I remember right. And you can type that in your calculator to verify it if you want. In problem number 2, tools, the table shows the total cost for a bandsaw and extra blades. Write an equation to find the total cost C of a bandsaw with any number of extra blades. Use the equation to find the cost of a bandsaw with 10 extra blades. So they want us to find the total cost C. So for problem number 2, what we want to do is we want to say that C is equal to, because C is what we're trying to find, the cost of a bandsaw with any number of extra blades, C. So the E. Okay, so the E is the extra blades, and so it's what we want to do is we want to try to figure out what the slope is and what the y-intercept is. For the last several problems, we haven't had a y-intercept, but in this problem, we're going to have a y-intercept or value for B, because we have to pay for the bandsaw itself, and then we're going to pay for each blade. So per blade. So we're going to pay for the bandsaw, and then we're going to pay per blade. So the bandsaw price comes right here when we're not buying any blades at all. That means that we're going to pay for the the $150 is for the cost of the bandsaw. So 150 goes here. And then what we want to do is we want to kind of look at how much for one blade how much are we paying? Well, if we don't buy any blade, we're paying $150. If we buy one blade, we're paying $154. So what that tells me is that each blade is worth $4. So if we go up to 2 blades, we're paying $4 more, and if we buy another blade, we're paying $4 more. So then what that tells me is that the cost of each blade, or per blade, is $4. So this slope number is 4, and then to make it look a little bit cleaner, we say that our cost is equal to $4 per extra blade plus the $150 for the bandsaw. So the $150 is a fixed cost. The $4 is the per cost or per per blade. Okay, and so that's our equation right there. And then it says to use the equation to find the cost of a bandsaw with 10 extra blades. Well, if we're going to pay for 10 extra blades, that means that our cost is 4 times 10, the number of extra blades, plus 150 is going to be 40 plus 150 would be $190 total. Problem number 3. It says an aquarium costs $85 plus $2 per fish. So our cost, C, is going to equal the $2 per fish plus the $85, the cost of the aquarium. The next thing it asks us to do after writing the equation is to make a table to find the cost of an aquarium plus 3, 4, 5, or 6 fish. So that means we're going to have to make our own table. And what we have is fish is our x value. The number that we're putting in on the right side is our x value. And the answer that we're getting out of it is our y value. And remember that the x always goes on the left side of a table and the y goes on the right side of the table. And what we want to do is we want to know how much it costs for 3 fish, for 4 fish, for 5 fish, and for 6 fish. So I guess I didn't need that little extra space in there. The next thing we want to do is we want to plug in 3, 4, 5, and 6 into our equation. So what we're doing is we're going to do 2 times 3 plus 85. We're going to do 2 times 4 plus 85. And then we're going to write those answers into our cost. So 2 times 3 is $6 plus $85 is $91. And then 2 times $4, that's a 4. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 85 is $93. And then 2 times 5 is 10, plus 85 is $95. And then the last one is $97. And as you can see, this change in y is equal to 2, the amount of the slope over the change in x, which is 1. So this is a classic example of what it should look like. You have an equation, you have an x and y table with your change in y over your change in x being correct on both sides of the table. Number 4, a florist sells roses by the dozen. It says write an equation to find the total cost, C, of our dozens of roses. So what we're going to do is we're going to say the cost is equal to the cost of a dozen roses times the number of dozens that you buy. Well, the thing is that our x value keeps going over 1 each time. Okay? And our y value keeps going up 20 each time. So that means that our change in y is 20, our change in x is 1, so our slope is 20. And the slope is the number that we want to write into the equation. So our equation becomes C equals 20R. Number 5, boating. Boat rentals are $50 plus $4 per hour. So, well, again, what we want to do is we want to say that y is equal to mx plus b. And what we're doing is we're analyzing cost is equal to $4 per hour. So I want to use an H there. $4 an hour plus the $50 flat fee or cost. Okay? So again, that's how you write it in equation. Is you put the fixed cost is the 50, you put the 4 next to the number per hour next to the H, and then that's going to equal what we're trying to find is the total cost C. Right, and then we want to make a table for finding the cost for 4, 5, 6, or 7 hours. So again, we want a table. We want hours here. We want cost here because hours are on the x side of the equation and the cost is on the y side of the equation. So remember, this is x, the left side, and the right side is y. So then what we want to do is we want to plug in 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, and 7 hours. And to do 4 hours, we're going to do 4 times 4 plus 50. So that would be 16 plus 50 is $66. And then, again, because our slope is 4, what we want to have happen is this number should change 4 units each time. So that means that we're going to do 66 plus 4 is 70. 70 plus 4 is 74. And 74 plus 4 is 78. So you can do it, you can fill in the table one of two methods. Is you can use these incremental values of our slope, or you can actually plug the number in. So like if I was going to do 8 hours, then what I would do is I would do the cost is equal to $4 for 8 hours plus 50 would be 32 plus 50 would be $82. So notice how this 82 is the same as if I would have added 4 straight onto the 78 to get 82. Okay, so good deal. That's how you do that. Number 6, it says private swimming lessons cost $30 per visit plus $3 per child in the group. So our cost is equal to 30 per visit. Whoops. So I want to redo that so it looks cleaner. So it's $30 per visit plus $30 per child. The thing is we really only want one variable on the right side in these equations that we're writing. So one of these two, either the 30V or the 3C, one of these two variables, the V or the C, has to go. And the way that you know which one you're supposed to keep and which one you're supposed to lose is when you're reading the problem, it tells you what it's looking for. So the next sentence says to write an equation to find the total cost T of a swimming lesson for any number of children C. So it's telling us that it wants us to keep the number of children and to not worry about the cost per visit, but rather like how many people you piled in the van to go up to the or how many kids you piled into the van to go up to the the swimming place. So what's going to happen then is our cost is going to be $3 per child. And let me, if I could write it, it's $3 per child plus $30 to visit. So the 30 becomes a fixed cost and your y-intercept, where the 3C, the 3 is your slope for this problem. Then what it does is it says how much does it cost for 1, 2, 3, or 4 children? Well, for one child, it's going to be 3 times 1 plus 30. It'll cost you $33. For 2 children, it'll be 3 times 2 is 6, plus 30 would be $36. and then 39, and then 42. And so you make a table with these values. Where these are your X's and these are your Y's. And that's it. That's all you got to do. And so this is the end of the video 4.1. For one bandsaw, for one blade.